What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Too Pop to Handle. I'm your host, Andrew Nucatola, your pop culture best friend. And as always, I hope you guys are having a fabulous week. I hope we're all staying hydrated. I hope if you're in New York, you're not getting punched because, that's a thing that we have to worry about now. I don't know if you guys have been seeing this all over your For You page or on Twitter, but, there was literally a man going around and punching women in New York. Just, uh, like, un, like, no reason, just for funsies, I guess. And it's just why? Like, what is going on? It has been, I think I've seen 4 videos of it happening this week. Obviously, there's always stuff going on in New York. It's a very lively city, for lack of a better word. So, there's always, it's unfortunate, but you do hear, somebody was pushed on the subway, some things happen. But, this has been a constant thing for the past few days of just some man. It seems to be he's apologizing and he's like, oh, sorry, excuse me. And then just rocking this bitch in their face. What is going on? So if you are in New York, it seems to be more of a downtown thing. So if you are in New York, stay alert, stay off your phone while you're walking around. I hate that I even have to say that, but what the fuck is going on? Very crazy. So I keep seeing it pop up on my For You page, and I'm like, what do you mean? I just can't imagine walking down the street and A, it happening to me, being punched, or B, watching it happen. You know what I mean? Is there nobody around when this is happening? What is going on? What is happening in the House of Commerce that, people are just getting milli rocked on the sidewalk and being, punched? Fucking insane. But I digress. It was a very rainy weekend here in New York, so it was a very chill since the last time we spoke. Honestly, I think we left the house 2 or 3 times. I did laundry, we went out to dinner, and I attempted to go to the gym, but the bus wasn't running, so I was like, nope, not for me. I turned around and it was not walking in the rain. So I came home and did a home workout. So yeah, it was very chill. Baked spring came and went. We are back in winter. It is freezing. Cold blue the other night, just I can't. I cannot do it. Maybe one day I'll stop talking about the weather on this podcast, but until then, fucking, I can't. I cannot with this weather. It is so bipolar. Somebody needs to get the weatherman into therapy and figure out his emotions because this back and forth, I feel like I'm in an abusive relationship with Mother Nature. She is literally just flinging us around. She's like, well, today you're hot, tomorrow you're cold, now you're gonna be sick, then it's gonna snow. It is just I can't do it. And I appreciate you guys listening to me bitch and moan about the weather on a pop culture podcast every week because, it's not what you're here for, but I appreciate you listening. But that being said, it was a very relaxed weekend over here in our world. We watched all of Quiet on Set. I have so many thoughts. Last time we spoke, if you didn't listen to last week's episode, I had watched a bunch of clips and kind of pieced together the overall synopsis of the series. But if you aren't familiar, it is the docuseries that is just exposing child stars and how they were treated. Really, Nickelodeon was the main one. Actually, I think it was the only one, but they couldn't just say that, obviously. But yeah, it was pretty much just exposing Nickelodeon for all of these just gross things that were going on behind the scenes, pedophiles on set, people being manipulative bosses, just insane. And I watched it. We are all caught up. So we thought. So I watched all 4 episodes, and then out of nowhere, now there's a 5th episode coming out next week on April 7th, and that seems very interesting to me. So if you haven't watched the docuseries, essentially they have a bunch of old Nickelodeon stars. I think the biggest one would be Drake Bell. And then they have a bunch of the cast of all that and some people from the Amanda Show. They have Alexa Nichols or Alexis Nichols from Zoe 101. They have a lot of people, Nickelodeon cast members, and they're all just kind of talking about their experience on set and what was going on, what was, what they saw, what they didn't see kind of thing, and just crazy. I mean, for children to be in this realm and dealing with literal pedophiles, sexual assault, it is just so upsetting and so heartbreaking. But this new episode, it seems like they might have people who wanted to speak up after it all came out, maybe. It seems like this wasn't planned because the way the 4th episode ended to me was very definitive, that was it. It was happening, and on the listing there was no new episode, and now out of nowhere there's another one coming out. So I'm curious if they saw the response and people were like, hey, I'll speak up, I have a story to tell, and they're gonna keep going, or if this was planned and they wanted to give it a breather between. I don't know. Seems weird that it's coming out now 2 weeks after, but regardless, there is a new episode coming out, so this story is not done. Unfortunately, I don't think we'll ever have the full story of what went on behind the scenes of all that and Drake and Josh, just the magnitude of it is so crazy, but What a docuseries. I mean, the biggest takeaway for me was the fact that Brian Peck, who was literally in prison for like raping Drake Bell, like literally he was forcible penetration and touching of a minor, was then hired to work on a Disney Channel show. And like how what? Just like it's so insane. I feel like nowadays it's a little more, or I hope, fingers crossed, a little more regulated of like they do bigger and deeper screenings of these people when they bring on these producers. But the fact that this guy was literally in prison and then a few years later got hired to work on This Sweet Life of Zach and Cody. uh, uh, I can't. It is just so crazy. Hollywood is such a twisted little place, that City of Stars. But regardless, very interesting watch if you haven't watched it. Definitely recommend it. It's on HBO Max, so go check that out. Um, just very fucking crazy. And then before we hop into some new things and what's coming up, this bridge in Baltimore has been a Roman Empire of mine all day. I'm sure you've seen it. If you haven't, I don't know what rock you're living under. A cargo ship hit a bridge in Baltimore last night or this morning, Tuesday, the 26th. Yeah, the 26th. Literally, a cargo ship lost power, couldn't stop the boat, they couldn't steer it. They were literally calling a mayday on the boat. Like, I can imagine this was like a movie scene, like what you see, like when the Titanic crashed, kind of thing. Like, just like wreaking havoc, people running around, and they weren't able to stop it. Thomas told me that the boat was only going 9 miles an hour, but obviously it's a fucking cargo ship. So when it hit the bridge, like it hit it slow, but since it's such a big being, a big boat, it hit the bridge and then the bridge obviously collapsed. What I just found out at literally like 10 minutes before I started recording though, is that the reason there weren't as many people on the bridge, thank God, was that they were able to contact traffic control and stop traffic from the bridge, from getting people like onto it. So I think last time I checked, there was like 6 or 7 people missing. I mean, it's kind of safe to say like if they're in their car underwater, I mean, I'm not gonna be the one to say it, but we're thinking it. So sad. I'm sending like all my thoughts, all my love to everybody in Baltimore. Also, like, this is obviously not the biggest issue at hand, but I can't help but think like, what are those people gonna do now who live on either side of the bridge? Like, is there another road that connects them somewhere? How are you get like, I'm thinking like if I had to get somewhere by a bridge, like I can't think of an easy alternative route. You know what I mean? Like a bridge is put there for an easy route to get there because there's not already one set. So now this bridge that was connecting obviously these two pieces of land is just gone. So what are they supposed to do? Like there's that's where I'm at. Like obviously it's so heartbreaking, it's so sad, and I'm not like diminishing the fact that like people were killed and people, whatever, but like what like how are they going to get to and from where they have to go? Like I don't know. It was just like to me, I'm like, that's not an easy fix. You know what I'm saying? Like that is not something that they can just be like, oh, we can rebuild it. Aside there's a pothole on the highway. They can fill that overnight. You can't build a bridge overnight. So what are they doing? If anybody's in Baltimore and you like genuinely like know how like what's going on, let me know because I'm honestly so confused at like what these people are supposed to do now. Like, are they stranded? I'm sure there's a way to get to the other side, but like what these are the things that I think about. Just crazy. And just like most people's worst nightmare, like I don't have a fear of bridges, but I kind of do now. Like I've never thought of this happening, but like why couldn't it happen here? Like just very crazy. I don't know. These are like the things you see in movies, that just like it's like like this is like a Spider-Man scene where like they're hanging off the bridge and he has to like come out of nowhere and like shoot a web and catch them. You know what I mean? Like it's literally like a Spider-Man scene. Like these are things that you don't see happen in real life, and the fact that it did happen, I'm like getting a little too close to the sun. Just like very, very crazy. When I was reading it, I was like half awake and I was like, is this real? Like, is this, nowadays you don't know what's real or what's not because of AI. And I was very much just like, is this a real thing that happened to this AI? And then when I started reading more, I was like, holy shit, like this literally happened. Like I said, anybody, if you're listening and you are in the area, if you know anyone who is affected, I'm sending my love. Just like very crazy things that you just like don't imagine happening in real life. I don't know. Things like that, I'm just like, it's hard for me to wrap my head around, I'm just like, What do you mean? I don't know. I'm not going to think about it anymore. Let's get on with the show. There is so much to talk about. So much music last week, music this week, scandals, this, that, lots to chat about. So let's hop right in. You guys know the drill. First and foremost, we are talking about our Drew releases, which is our new music releases from last week and our upcoming releases for this week. So last week, we had some ones that we knew were coming, and then there were some surprise ones that I didn't know were coming. So it was like a treat as the week went on, which I keep saying, I'm like, it's a new thing where artists are just like surprise announcing projects or singles or whatever and just dropping them whenever they want. And last week was not exempt from that. So the one that we knew that was coming was Fletcher in Search of the Antidote, her new album. I've been talking about it for weeks, months, really. I've loved this single, so I knew I would like the album, and I'm loving it. Such a good project, such a solid, just a good body of work. I think it's like 11 tracks, so it's like perfect length. It's not too long, not too short. Just such a good album. I was talking about Fletcher last week and how she's like not afraid to just like put a very descriptive moment into a song and like call out her ex or call out somebody in the situation. And I just think her songwriting is so like I guess raw and real. Is that the word? I don't know. She just like will literally put like she's not someone who's gonna make us think too much about a song. I feel like, we can kind of just like piece it together and be like, oh, she's going for it. I mean, she literally just recorded, I didn't watch it, but she recorded a video with her ex listening to the album and just like obviously some of the songs on the album are about her. And I don't know much about like that whole love story. There was so much like TikTok lesbian lore drama going on, I feel like, surrounding Fletcher, all of just like a lot. There was a lot. There was like that era of TikTok where it was like every other week a new lesbian couple was breaking up and then it was somehow tied to another. And I feel like Fletcher somehow fit in there. I don't keep up with it that much, but if anyone knows, feel free to shoot me a text, Kayla Shea. I'm sure you guys know all the drama. But that being said, I am loving the new Fletcher album. I think my top three, if I had to pick, would be Maybe I Am, Ego Talking, and Pretending. I still love the singles that came out, and I'm just loving this album. If you haven't listened to it yet, definitely add it to your rotation. It is a solid body of work, and I am loving this release. The next kind of an album, but not so much an album, was Olivia Rodrigo. She released Guts Spilled. So this was not announced until I think got announced the day after I recorded. So this was released last Wednesday, but it came out on Friday. And we kind of knew this was coming. Her team has been teasing it, and we knew that those 4 tracks on the album were so probably coming to streaming. So she released 4 different variants of her vinyl when it came out, and each vinyl color had a different track on it. So there were already 4 bonus songs that were only available on the vinyl. So then they released the final versions, which is kind of cool because the vinyl versions were like demos, I guess, and now the final versions are released on streaming, plus a new song, which is So American, and I am loving these tracks. I had heard them here and there through TikTok. Obsessed was like the big one. She's performing that on tour. Like that's the one that really blew up, and I'm sure most of you probably heard it before the album came out. But that's like the big one that came out. And then the new one was So American, and I'm loving these songs. They're all great. They're all solid. I would say Obsessed, Scared of My Guitar, and So American are my 3 favorites from the 5 that were released, but the other 2 are great as well. She doesn't miss. She knows what she's doing. And anything she's serving, I'm gonna eat it up. I love that little bitch. I love that spicy Pisces. So new stuff from Olivia Rodrigo is always so exciting. Still don't have tickets to the Guts tour, but I will be there. I am putting it into the universe. I will be at the Guts tour on April 5th at Madison Square Garden. Putting it out into the universe, so, maybe that'll manifest and bring me some good vibes. Moving on through our releases from last week, this was a huge one for me, and I didn't know it was coming out until Friday. Maybe it was my bad. Should have known it was coming out, but I just didn't see it anywhere until Friday morning, and when I saw it was out, I was like, thank fucking God. Charlie XCX featuring Addison Rae and A.G. Cook, the Von Dutch remix. Now, we talked about the Von Dutch release a few weeks ago when it came out. I was saying it sounds like what a gay bar sounds like, how it feels, and this remix is nothing short of that. It is so much fun, so good. I just love Addison Rae. I think she's so fun and like knows how to have a good time on a track. That scream that she did that was like ad-libbed and not planned. I mean, we love pop culture history. Like, she's really just, giving the girls what they want. Solid remix. I'm obsessed. Also, Charlie randomly announced like a mini tour, and she texted I'm on like her text sign up whatever thing. She like sent the text. I added them to my cart. I've never purchased so fast. So I got my tickets to see Charlie in June. I mean, June is Pride Month. Seeing Charlie XCX in Brooklyn during Pride Month, it just makes sense. I am so excited. Gonna be a blast. So I'm loving that release. I don't know when her album's coming out, Brat or whatever. Yeah, it's called Brat. I have the vinyl pre-ordered, but I don't know when the album's coming out. So at some point, I'm sure by June it'll be out, but TBD on that. Loving the single, loving the remix. Keep it up, Charlie. And the final release from last week is another huge one that I was so excited about, and it did not disappoint. It is Girl in Red featuring Sabrina Carpenter, You Need Me Now. Oh, what a song. I have been loving Girl in Red's new album that she's been releasing. I've talked about it so much. I feel like you guys are probably like, we get it. You love it. But I'm loving everything she's put out so far. Add Sabrina Carpenter to the mix. I mean, come on. Like, it is a recipe for success. It is so good. Loving the sound, loving the vibe, loving this like friendship they have. I think it's so cute. I mean, they both opened for Taylor on the Eras tour. I don't know if that's how they became friends or how they met or how this came about, but regardless, I'm loving it. If you haven't listened to the track yet, make sure you do. It is so good, and I cannot wait for this album. There is just like, we are in such a golden age of new music this year, and I can't freaking wait for this year to just like continue to feed us all this good music. And those are all of our releases from last week. As always, I add them all to my playlist on Spotify and Apple Music. Just search Drew Releases. It should come right up. And what I do, if you don't know, is I add all of the releases to the playlist on Friday or whenever day they come out. Then by the following week, by the time the episode comes out, I go through it and I delete whatever songs I don't like from the playlist. So that way, on Friday, after you listen to the episode on Wednesday or Thursday, by Friday you can listen to the songs that I talk about that are on the playlist, and then by the next week they're off the playlist if I didn't like them, because I want that playlist to be like curated of the songs that I'm loving from the year. You know what I mean? I don't look back and be like, that was a shitty release. Like, but I want to make it easier for you guys to find. So that playlist is always linked in my bio on Instagram. You can go find it there. And this week is major for music. First and foremost, we do have Flyana Boss releasing their EP. It's called This Ain't the Album, which is such a funny EP title. Something about them is they're gonna have fun with the title or just like their music. I'm very curious though, because it is an EP and they put out so many singles in the past few months. I'm like, is this gonna be anything new? Is it just gonna be a compilation of all your singles? Regardless, I've liked all the singles so far, so I won't be mad. But I'm hoping there's more than just what they've released. I'm sure there will be. I don't think they would put out an EP with no new content, but new EP from them on Friday. And I'm going to be completely honest, I probably will not listen to it until the week after, because of the fact that by next week, we will have a new Beyoncé album. Cowboy Carter drops this Friday, March 29th. I cannot wait. I was going through our old clips the other day because I had one Beyoncé reel that did like really well, so I wanted to see like who I tagged and whatever my strategy stuff. But it was about Act Two, and it was back in January. And I was like, so we're given this idea to believe that Act Two is coming sooner than we think, and now it's here. Like, it's crazy that that was in January, and now it is March, and we are getting this album already. I did not think it was going to be that quick, but alas, here we are. And in that clip, I was saying, I was like, I am so sorry for the person that I'm going to become when Beyonce starts to tease this, because I will not shut up about it. And I did just that. Like, I have not stopped talking about this album, I feel like, since the Super Bowl, and I'm not going to stop. I'm so excited for this album. I can't wait. There's a lot to dive into about that album too, and kind of taking from our Drew Releases segment and into our pop culture news. We're just gonna kind of segment right in, but still talk about Beyonce. I mean, come on. So, I realized last week when I was editing the episode, I completely skipped over something I wanted to talk about, and I don't know how. I think I was just really excited to be talking about Beyonce and completely skipped this note. But if you remember last week, I was talking about how she released that statement saying how this isn't a country album, this is a Beyonce album. In that same statement, which I don't know how I forgot to mention this last week, but it was on my outline, and I just somehow like skipped over it. I was just too excited, I guess. But she said that the reason she started this album and why she wrote this country album was because of the fact that she didn't feel welcomed in a situation. She said that it was born out of an experience where she didn't feel welcome, and it was really obvious that she wasn't welcome, which, I mean, you can't think of anything else besides the CMAs in 2016, was it, when she performed with the Dixie Chicks, or the Chicks now? That backlash that she got was so brutal. People were like pissed that she was performing at the Country Music Awards as if like a black woman can't perform a country song. Just like just stupid like white people shit essentially. And the fact that she's just like taking that, throwing it back in their face and releasing this country album, I'm obsessed. I mean, like, what can she do? So I'm so excited to just I feel like she's gonna come on this like scathing. She's gonna come on mad as hell on that track. Oh, I can't wait. And then on the day after that I recorded last week, she released the alternative cover, which she is essentially like the Statue of Liberty with like nothing but respect from My Lady Liberty. And she is wearing a sash that says Beyonce, but it's spelled Beyince. And a lot of people were like, oh my God, what does that mean? Why is it spelled like that? And it's actually, if you don't know, which a lot of people do, but I had people asking me and I saw it all over online, so I figured I would just chat about it quick. Her mom's maiden name is Beyonce, and it was spelled that way because they misspelled it on the birth certificate. So some of her family has it spelled Beyonce, but I think it was like her and her brother, or her and someone else, it's spelled Beyince. And when she asked why it wasn't changed, her mom said, "We were just lucky to get the birth certificate. Like, I didn't want to go through the trouble." And then when Beyonce was born, she obviously gave her the name spelled with an O. So that is just also showing how the fact that this album is not only going to the roots of country music, but is going back to her roots, which her mom, Tina, is, or Miss Tina, calling her just Tina feels so sacrilegious. Miss Tina is from Texas, so she is obviously tying back to those Texas roots, showing her countryside. This album, I feel like she is just going to lay it all out on the table on this album. I feel like she's going to get so real, so raw. Ah, I can't wait. There's also some rumors, and I can't even believe I'm saying this, but there's rumors that Miley is on the album, which, if you know me, Beyonce, Lorde, Miley are my three favorite artists. If Beyonce and Lorde have a song, I mean, Beyonce and Lorde, that's a whole nother ballgame. Beyonce and Miley have a song together. Now, I'm not gonna count my chickens before they hatch, whatever the saying is, but like, girl, uh, I'm just saying now, if Beyonce and Miley have a song together, prepare to be sick of me. Prepare to be sick of me. On the other hand, there is also rumors, and I believe this one more than the Miley one, that there is a Telephone Part 2 on this album. This comes with evidence. So this one I am holding on to even tighter. So obviously we all know Telephone, Beyonce featuring Lady Gaga. Or is it Lady Gaga? It's Lady Gaga featuring Beyonce. Regardless, pop music history. Like legit. I say it a lot, but like that was legitimately history being made. The music video, the everything, all of it, just perfection. At the end of that music video, it says to be continued, and that was 15 years ago. Still hasn't been continued. But there's been some weird little crossovers happening, and it starts honestly with the teaser for Cowboy Carter where she's driving away because it looks like the pussy wagon from the telephone video. So kind of looks like the car. Telephone, obviously they're like driving through a desert. So people were kind of having speculations there. Then there was those paparazzi pictures of Lady Gaga allegedly driving around LA with the Texas Hold'em banner on the back of her car. I could never really confirm if it was her or not driving around with it, but like, that was a weird coincidence. Then things got weird this week. So, but this, like, beside Beyonce saying she partnered with some artists on this album, so like, we're obviously are getting collabs in some aspect. Lady Gaga posted on her story, and there was a photo in it of her telephone, like, look, with the phone in her hair, posted in like, it was like next to her guitar. So like, weird. And then one of the stylists from the telephone music video posted a picture of Gaga from the telephone video. Just like very weird. I don't know. I just think it's weird timing for all this to be happening. And if we get Telephone Part 2, my God. Uh, I I don't even know what to say. And if we get none of this, I'll still be elated for the album. Like, that is no issue there. But regardless, if any of these things come true, I'm going to pass away. I'm so excited for this album. I genuinely Cannot wait. I am so excited to just like hear the sound because again, I don't listen to country music often. Like I don't we've established this in the podcast. It's not that I don't dislike country music. It's just not like my go-to genre. But Beyonce is my go-to bitch. So like I'm gonna listen to it and I'm gonna love it regardless. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just excited to kind of see like how she experiments with it. I mean, I loved Daddy Lessons and I love 16 Carriages. I love Texas Hold'em. Like I'm sure I'm gonna love the album. I'm just so excited to hear like this sound and like how she experimented with it. I'm just very excited. It's gonna be an exciting week. And then she also, this is my last thing about the Beyonce album, and I promise I'll move on. But last Wednesday, I want to say, or maybe Thursday, the Guggenheim Museum, which is in New York City, which is not far from me at all. It's like a 10-minute drive. They had the promo being projected onto the museum. Now, I had already taken an edible, so I knew I couldn't go because I just like couldn't be in that mindset and like what if Beyonce showed up? Like, what if something went down and I was like, on Pluto because of the edible? Like, I couldn't go, but I went to bed that night and I looked at Thomas and I said, if something happened at the Guggenheim tonight and Beyonce is there or something happened and I wasn't there, I will be, I will be killing myself. I Thank God nothing happened. Actually, when fans got there, it wasn't even projected onto the museum, so that was weird. We still don't know if it was like photoshopped or if it actually happened. Like, all we have is that one photo, which seems weird because it's in a very high traffic area. The Guggenheim is literally a few blocks away from the Met, right across from Central Park. So, like, it's not like there wouldn't be other people there, but there's like no videos of it. There's one video or one photo of it. Very weird, but I'm keeping my senses alert because I'm like, what is she gonna do? Like, why are you using the Guggenheim? She also had something at the Museum of Design or something, the album cover, just like very interesting promo that she's doing. I don't know. That sent me into a spiral though, I will say, and I was like, I should be at the Guggenheim. I didn't go and I didn't miss anything, thank God, but if I missed Beyonce at the Guggenheim when I lived 10 minutes away, it would have been everybody's problem, okay? I would have made sure everybody on planet Earth had a terrible day the next day because I missed Beyonce. And maybe that's selfish. Maybe maybe that's not the right mindset. I don't care. It's like I there I have met every other favorite artist of mine. Every single one. The idea of meeting Beyonce ever just feels so far-fetched, not impossible. But if I woke up the next day and saw on my phone Beyonce at the Guggenheim, even if she was just like chatting with people, I don't need a photo. Like I just have this like premeditated like notion in my mind of like what I would say to her if I ever meet her, and I don't talk about it because I can't think about it. I don't get starstruck, but she is somebody who I think I might get starstruck in front of. If I woke up the next morning and saw that happening 10 minutes from the apartment, it would have been everybody's problem. So just giving you, the precedent for if that ever was to happen. But moving on from Beyonce, I have some things rather that I need to address and I need to apologize for, but also not apologize completely for. And I'm sure you can probably assume what I'm talking about because it has been the name on everybody's lips, but Kate Middleton. So first and foremost, so upsetting to see that she was diagnosed with cancer. That video, it was just so sad. And I mean, she's clearly been going through a lot, and it does kind of suck that the internet took this by storm, grabbed the reins, and kind of just rode this ride out for her. And I contributed to it. I am not even gonna lie and be like, oh, no, I was fully in on it. I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I didn't think it was to this magnitude because I thought it would have been handled differently from the jump. Which leads me to say, obviously, I like feel bad. I'm sorry that I made jokes about it, but the way that this was handed, okay, editing Andrew popping in for a second, the way that this was handed, not handled, am I okay? Sorry, I just needed to pop in and like let you know that did not go unnoticed. Enjoy. By the royals and like I guess like Buckingham Palace and whoever is in charge of their PR was handled terribly. Terribly. Now, sure, did they put out a statement at the beginning saying she was going to be away from her engagements and things like that? Yes. But to post that and then just leave everybody kind of high and dry, I feel like it would have made more sense if they just said like she was like away from some of her engagement, she had something going on and like didn't mention the previous surgery. Like that just I feel like is what spun people around. And then like I mean, I still don't think those paparazzi videos or photos were her. Like, just like really, really weird things happening. And I obviously, like, I feel bad for making any jokes about it and like questioning it, but like, it was handled really poorly, right? Like, we can all agree with that. Regardless, so sad. I'm hoping, everything is all right. I hope she gets through all of her treatment and all of her chemo and everything. I know she said she's starting her treatment soon and has been going through it. So, sending my love to Kate Middleton, I guess. I don't know. That's a weird thing to say, but you know what I'm saying. But obviously, I couldn't not talk about it because, like, A, I made a big deal of it 2 episodes in a row, and now I'm like, wow, I'm an asshole. But also, like, it wasn't just me. And people are still saying they don't believe it and there's not her. Those people, you guys need to get a grip. Like, at this point, the woman literally filmed a video saying what's going on. Like, just leave her be. Stop with these theories. Let's keep it pushing. But that being said, we're going to keep it pushing and go into some more positive news. Taylor and Travis. So I feel like we haven't talked about them in a little bit. I probably talked about her last week, let's be real. But regardless, Taylor and Travis. So Taylor is on break from tour right now. I think she goes back in like a week or so, maybe 2 weeks. Could be wrong. I don't know. I keep track when I do, and when I don't, I don't. Like, I can't be on top of it all the time. But she is on break right now. I know that. Very much deserved. Her and Travis both having some R&R time, and they were in the Bahamas, and then they were in Nobu. They were at Nobu in Malibu the other day, and it is just so funny to see Taylor not posing, but like her and Travis being in the water, because there's like, if you have been following Taylor for a while and you know like her past relationships, any of her public relationships, she is always in the water with these men. She is always at the beach, drink in hand, in the water with them. There's the Calvin Harris photo, there's the Connor Kennedy photos. Like, there's so many pictures of her and her now ex-man and current man in the water. And it's just so funny that she kind of keeps this lore going. I mean, she's just vacationing on a beach, really, but it's a funny thing to tie together. And I think the fact that like it's been so consistent with so many of her exes, and then it just goes like ghost with her and Joe, and now she's back with Travis. Like, it's just again kind of showing that, like, yeah, she was literally like hidden for years because of her boyfriend, and now she's out and about doing her thing. One thing I did think was interesting is I personally didn't see any of the photos of them in the Bahamas until after they were back, which I thought was very respectful. And I could be wrong, maybe they just didn't cross my desk before that, but I saw the photos of them at Nobu way before I saw the photos of them in the Bahamas. So again, could have just been like out of order for me, but I'm gonna believe that people were respectful and didn't post the photos of them while they were on vacation until a few days after or whatever it may be. Probably not likely, but we're gonna go with it. But just, it's so cute to see them like out and about doing their things. Like, they were at the zoo in Australia, now they're in the Bahamas, now they're at Nobu. Just like, a couple doing couple things, and as if they didn't just win the Super Bowl and have the biggest tour of all time ever. Just like, it's funny to see them doing normal people things, and I'm glad that they can do somewhat normal people things. Just a fun little tidbit. We are getting closer. We are a month away from Tortured Poets Department. Make sure you stay tuned on the next few episodes, because I have some fun things happening. Not going to give too much away, but some fun things happening with the release date of Tortured Poets Department, so mark your calendars. And I did mention it a few weeks ago, but if you are looking for a way to celebrate the release of the album, my girl Julie, she is throwing a release party in New York at the Knitting Factory. There are also other cities, and they were slipping my mind, but Fangirl Fantasy, go over to their Instagram, check it out. They're having 3 or 4 release parties. I know one's in New York, one's in Boston. I want to say Seattle, maybe Pittsburgh or Cleveland. There's one other one slipping my mind. I should have this ready, but I just thought of it now. But they are doing some release parties for the album, so they are always a blast. Make sure you check it out. I'm sure I'll be at the New York one. And yeah, just if you're looking for a fun way to ring in the new album, now you found it. Moving on to some other couple news. Not as exciting as Taylor and Travis, or not as positive, I should say. Christine Quinn's husband, Christian, has been arrested twice within 2 days. So it's not a laughing matter. But Christine Quinn from Selling Sunset, or she was on Selling Sunset, we all saw her wedding on the show. She's been married to her husband, Christian, for a few years now. They have a baby, and he was arrested for throwing a bag with a glass bottle in it at her. But it didn't hit her. It somehow like deflected and hit their son, their 2-year-old son. Uh, what the fuck? Then he leaves the house and is getting arrested barefoot in a robe. And then there's a restraining order or some order of protection where he can't go back to the house. He goes back to the house that night and gets arrested again. I haven't seen any updates since then, and I don't really know what's going on and what, but like, what the hell is going on? There hasn't been really much to come out from it, but it's just like, this is a couple where, like, obviously Christine's always posting on Instagram doing her thing, but like, we don't hear a lot about them. He is very much like not in the spotlight purposely. He was on the show a little bit here and there if you watched it, and then he kind of just like phased out, and then Christine obviously got fired, quit, whatever it was, that whole drama. But he's like not someone who likes the attention, not like the fame, whatever. He's just like a rich finance guy who's dating Christine or married to Christine Quinn. But now this is just like, what is going on behind closed doors? This is very strange, kind of alarming. Like, I hope the son is okay. There was not there. I know Christine went to the hospital with the son. I think it was just more for like precautionary, make sure he's okay. I don't think he was hurt that bad. If he was, no reports that I read said it. Obviously, they don't have to disclose anything about a child, but I'm thinking that the child is okay. Christine did not call the police on Christian when he went back to the house. I don't think she was there from what I read, but just like, what is going on? Very odd, very strange. I'm hoping she's safe. I'm hoping the baby's safe. Like, very, very strange. I don't know. When I read that headline, I was like, A, when do we ever get headlines about him? Because he just, again, does not like to be in the public eye. And B, like, what the fuck? Very bizarre, especially after that wedding. Like, they threw the biggest, craziest, grandest wedding. And what's going on inside the house? A little alarming. Like, I hope everyone's all right. I don't know. Very, very weird. If there's new things that come out by next week, I'll update you guys. But I don't. This was again last week, and this was between the two episodes, so nothing new since then. I don't know if he. I don't think he's in jail. Like, I'm sure he's out, but I don't know if he's at the house. I don't know if she's at the house. I didn't really know what's going on. Just like needed to talk about it. If you guys have any thoughts or any like news that you've heard, let me know. Shoot me a DM. Shoot me a tweet because I'm like, what the fuck? Just like very odd. And again, you just never know what's going on behind closed doors, you know? Like, I hope this hasn't been an ongoing thing. I hope it was, I don't hope, but like, best case scenario, it was just like a really heated fight. He lost his temper. Hopefully it was the first. Hopefully it's the last. Hopefully, like, everyone's all right. Just like scary things to think about. I don't know. You just never know what's going on behind closed doors. And on the topic of what goes on behind closed doors, we're getting an inside look at Lukas Gage and Chris Appleton's divorce. Lucas was on Watch What Happened Live last week, and if you don't know who Lukas Gage is, he was on White Lotus. He was married to Chris Appleton, which we're gonna get into. And Chris Appleton, he is most famously known for being Kim Kardashian's hairdresser. He is always with her. I'm sure you've seen her, but he was on Watch What Happens Live last week and was kind of just giving us an inside look at the divorce because it kind of came and went. It was a very like, I mean, the whole relationship came and went. They were dating for 2 months, got married in Vegas by Kim Kardashian. Shania Twain sang for them at their wedding, and now they're divorced. Just like a very Kardashian crazy level turn of events, I feel like. But essentially, he said he was like, I had a manic episode for 6 months, and it was absolutely unhinged to get married to Chris, which we can all agree. I mean, did I love watching the episode? Of course I did. Did I love seeing Shania Twain sing You're Still the One? Of course I did. But like, just very, very crazy scenario when you boil it down. I was shocked that it was even brought up, to be honest, on Watch What Happens Live. Like, I feel like that's not something. I mean, I guess if it's gonna get brought up somewhere, Andy Cohen's messy ass is gonna bring him up. No shade to Andy, but you know, he likes to stir the pot a little bit, and I don't blame him. He knows how to get a story out of somebody. Here I am talking about it, so clearly it's working. But I just thought it was really interesting that they talked about it. He apologized to Kim, he apologized to Shania, he said sorry for wasting your time. And I think the funniest part is that Shania responded. She quote tweeted the clip and she said, if you're not in it for love, I'm out of here, with a laughing emoji. So like, obviously she was joking around with them, but just very funny and just like crazy to kind of get the insight into their relationship. And like, he did say that there was no cheating in any of it, which was like the big story that came out. Unfortunately, the gay community is just like known for that, unfortunately. But there was no cheating involved. He couldn't say more than that because he had to sign an NDA, which like no shocker there. But yeah, just kind of interesting to get some insight into their relationship. And crazy, he said he was like, this is not the last time I'll be married, which is just like red flags are us to anyone, any future prospects for him. You know what I mean? Like, if I was single and I was interested in somebody and seeing someone and I saw or heard that they said to someone, oh, I was married after 2 months of dating someone and that won't be the last time I'm married, like, that's not going to make somebody want to date you. I don't know. To me, it just was like, a weird thing to say, but hey, like, say what you want, do what you want. I don't know. Not my relationship, not my circus, not my monkeys. Just thought it was a fun little way to get a tidbit into the relationship because they, I remember when it happened, like I saw that they were dating and then they were engaged and then I was watching the Kardashians and they were married. I was like, what? Like it was all so fast and they kind of got divorced and just kind of like went away with it. So I was getting some info and some closure on it. I was like, all right, this is good to know and just kind of like now nip it in the bud. I didn't need them to unopen the box and like go back into it. But I did enjoy the tidbit. So I just wanted to throw that in there. Moving on, this next story is crazy and it's still kind of developing and it's clearly been developing for years. But have you guys seen what's going on with Diddy? Like, do you know how crazy it is to have the government show up at not one but two of your houses to raid them? One of them in Miami, one in Los Angeles. At like they have to have such hard evidence and such a solid case to go into your house for any reason, especially when you're P. Diddy. Like, I know he doesn't just live like on a random street. I'm sure it's a gated community. I'm sure it was like a whole process to get in. But they raided both of his houses in a sex trafficking case, which there's been a lot going on with him in for years. There's the Cassie lawsuits. She said, I think this was in November last year, she was trying to sue him for rape, human trafficking, sex trafficking, assault, amongst other things. And then in December, a woman, she didn't say her name, she said that she was gang raped and sex trafficked when she was 17 in 2003. Like, there's been a lot of allegations against P. Diddy and just like that whole sex trafficking world. And this feels like we're about to get like huge groundbreaking information into whatever is going on with all of this. I mean, 50 Cent has been trying to like expose Diddy for years. Usher made a comment saying that like one time at Diddy's house he saw something weird when he was like 14. So like there's just always been a lot of like always just been like a lot of weird vibes from him and like people trying to kind of tell us over the years. And I don't know, I just feel like this is going to be something like there's a lot coming out from this. His electronics were taken from him. He was also trying to like board a flight as this all happened and that's when his electronics were taken. So nobody really knows where he is. Like no one knows where Diddy is. No one knows what's going on. His jet took off, but he wasn't on it. Like so many weird things happening with the story. And I wish I had more to kind of like put a bow on it, but it is kind of developing. All we know is that these allegations have been coming out for a while, and now the fact that they were able to raid not one but two of his homes, which again, I'm sure they're in private neighborhoods, like definitely some hoops to jump through to get there. All of his electronics were seized. Like this seems obviously it's serious regardless, but this seems like they have like hard evidence and a crazy case against him finally, where they can just like, boom, we got you, we're done. Nobody knows if he's in custody. Nobody knows if he's in another country, if he's where he is. But just like what the fuck is going on? It's just crazy. I was talking to my friend Julie, who I just mentioned earlier, who runs Fangirl Fantasy, and she was saying, she was like, this seems like we are about to get like big news. Like this isn't just like a little like a drop in this bucket. Like this seems like huge. And I agree. Like I feel like there's something must have happened or something must have like tipped somebody off like big time, or they've just been like building, we know they've been building this case, but like there must have been, I just want to know like what happened that they were like, all right, we're going in, and they just went to both of his houses and raided it. They had his kids in handcuffs outside, like just so crazy. And I unfortunately am glued to the story. I'm very interested to see what happens. Obviously, it's like a disgusting and sad topic, but it's like, what the fuck is going on? People are throwing around Epstein again, just like so much happening. And I don't know. I just feel like it's not just going to stop at the houses being raided. Like there's going to be news coming out from this. You know what I mean? Like they're going to find something in his electronics. Something's fishy. It's been fishy and now it's like spoiled fish, like it's getting a little past spoiled. And yeah, I am tuned into this story. So I hate to say hopefully, but hopefully we'll have some updates next week. I'll keep you guys in the loop. Just like very fucking crazy. I don't know. When I saw this happen, I was like, no way. No fucking way. And then a few weeks ago, didn't somebody come out and say something, like a guy say that they had like him and Diddy like were hooking up or something? Like there was that allegation. That might be no, I'm pretty sure that was Diddy. Yeah. I'm like 99% positive that was with Diddy. Diddy gay allegations. Let's Google together. Yeah, yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, just like a lot going on. Oh yeah, there was the whole Meek Mill thing, a lot happening, and I just am like, what is gonna be like the straw that breaks the camel's back? You know, like what's gonna be the final thing that just like somebody spills everything and it's just like the end all be all of this case? And like, I don't know, very interesting, very scary to think about what goes on behind the scenes. Like you think about Quiet on Set, like what we talked about at the top of the show, and like this is something real happening again with music, the music world, and just like you just never know what's happening behind closed doors. Common thread of the episode, just like very, very crazy. That being said, it is another week in the workroom. We're recapping RuPaul's Drag Race. What a transition that was. I'm so good at this. But anyway, RuPaul's Drag Race this week. Episode was mid. That lip sync, bitch. Oh my god, let's get into it. So the week begins, and we see Q is still mad that Saphira won the challenge over her. I can't. Like, girl, get over it. They move into the mini challenge, and we see that they are recreating that iconic Tammy Faye t-shirt. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's essentially just like her makeup face smeared on a shirt. And all the queens have to essentially do quick drag, go up to the shirt and rub their face on a hot pit crew member's chest. Like, really not a bad challenge, especially when they haven't had contact with another man in months. Like, I'm sure they were all loving this challenge. Just like a silly, fun challenge. I love. The mini challenges I feel like are where they should be silly, you know what I mean? Like that's where you guys have fun. Like you guys are just like kikiing, being girls, just hanging out. I love when they're silly in the mini challenges. They usually are. Like it's usually more lighthearted. And I thought it was fun. It was just like a silly, stupid challenge. Plain Jane ends up winning. And then they find out the main challenge. They have to design a gender neutral bathroom. They get put into teams, and essentially they are just designing gender neutral bathrooms. It was very much giving, what was it, All Stars 4? Yeah, All Stars 4. All Stars 4? Yeah, that's right. When they did the club, like the VIP club challenge, and like Naomi and Valentina did Club 96, and Monet. Wow, who was she paired with? I'm slipping my mind. The big one was Club 96. But very much giving that and the same energy, which it's always fun to see how they tie challenges over from different seasons. And it was a fun challenge. Like I honestly I wasn't like floored by it. It wasn't anything crazy, but it was fun to see them and it was silly. Me and Thomas were hysterical over Q and Morphine, the Welcome to Hell and like their little tongue thing. Oh my god, we rewound that so many times because we thought it was so funny. It's just a fun, silly challenge. I do believe that Plain Jane and Saphira had the best one, so I'm glad that they did win. Spoiler alert, there was a double win. They won the challenge. But yeah, it was fun. I don't think any of them did bad. I can definitely see where like Nymphia and Dawn were maybe the weaker links. I think it was cute, the Museum of Modern Fart, but just compared to the other two, like they definitely were ranking in the bottom. And then this runway, oh my god, the chains. I mean, come on, Rihanna S&M, change and whips excite me. Come the fuck on. First and foremost, Nymphia Wind. I will say it every week. That runway. Oh my god. The way that the chains fell on her, they looked so perfect on her body. The braid, the whip, everything was just perfect. I was obsessed with it. She came out and I literally gasped. What else is new? I'm obsessed with the bitch. Who else? Morphine. I loved her look. I loved Saphira's look. I thought it was so fun the way Saphira really just took like a totally different campy route with it. That latex dog suit, so cute. And then obviously the chain being her collar. Morphine, she just always looks fucking stunning. I will say I did not like Dawn's and I did not like Q's look. Just Dawn's was like basic and boring. I don't know, especially after that challenge. Like she should have pulled something bigger out. And something about Q's for some reason just I did not like it. I think maybe it was how many chains there were up and down her sides. If you didn't watch, she essentially had like chains down her pant legs and in her inner sleeves. And it just seemed like there was, I don't know, just like too much going on. Also, what was going on in her hair? I don't, just like a lot happening. I don't know. Regardless, oh, Plain Jane, I did like her look. It was very Renaissance inspired, I will say. It was very Beyoncé, this a reminder, but I loved it. It was very cute. Wasn't my favorite, wasn't anything groundbreaking, but it got the job done. But like I said, Saphira and Plain do win, leaving Morphine and Dawn in the bottom two. Now, Morphine and Dawn are both on an equal playing field essentially in this challenge. or this competition rather, they both have 0 wins. Morphine has lip synced before, Dawn has not. So I guess if you're looking at track record, I guess Dawn has a better track record because she hadn't been in the bottom. Regardless, Morphine is my fucking bitch and I'm obsessed with her. So we haven't seen Dawn lip sync yet, so we don't really know what she's got in the store. So I was a little like, is she about to pull something out? Like, I don't know, these Brooklyn girls, they could pull some stops out. And then the song starts. And before the song even starts, when they flash the title across the bottom of the screen, when I saw Body by Megan Thee Stallion, and I'm looking at Morphine Love Dion, the BBL of Miami, and Dawn Aluminum Free Brooklyn Deodorant Girl, I was like, oh, they set Dawn up. Like, oh my fucking God. Morphine won from the first, like there was no chance. It was such, I mean, obviously it's a competition. You got to perform, but like the fact that out of all the queens, Morphine was up there to do Body, thank God. It wasn't even a lip sync for your life. It was a Morphine Love Dion show. There was nobody else on that stage but her. She devoured this lip sync to a point where I was like, I felt bad for Dawn. Dawn was up there just like moving around, doing what she can, and there was just no chance. And I like Dawn. I did not want to see her go, but like in that circumstance, my God, if you have not watched this lip sync, even if you're not a Drag Race fan, just look up Morphine Love Dion Dawn Body lip sync. You are going to be mesmerized. It is, ugh, it's so good. And it's so sad because Dawn clearly was like, Morphine wiped the stage with her. It was out of control. Michelle at the end going, she ate that. Fucking incredible. And in fact, she did eat that. And if you can't tell, Morphine does stay. Dawn goes home. So well deserved. I am a little nervous. You know, Morphine has been on the bottom twice in a row, and I'm hoping this does not keep going. I'm hoping, I would love to see her in the top four, which means my original, so let's rewind. So originally my top four was Nymphia, Q, Saphira, and Dawn. I will say Q has bumped her way out and Morphine has bumped her way in. Now Dawn is out and the top five is Nymphia, Saphira, Plain Jane, Q, Morphine. I don't see Plain Jane going home next week. So either Morphine or Q has got to go. Seeing that it is a makeover challenge and they are doing they're like putting somebody else in drag, and both like Morphine is so good at makeup and Q is so good at making outfits, I really don't know where that can go. Maybe somebody else will go home, I don't know, but we are getting to the top four. We are so close and I'm getting nervous. I still am Team Nymphia. I still want her to win, but I have come to the like agreement in my head that if Nymphia or Saphira win, I am content. I am very happy. If either of them win, I'll be fine. I'd prefer Nymphia, but if Saphira takes it, it's very well deserved. I mean, she has 4 wins. That's crazy. Like she has 3 wins in a row. Like she has been killing it. If she wins, it is so well deserved. But I like Nymphia better, but I love Saphira. So if either of them win, I'm happy. But I'm very curious who this top four is going to be because it's coming down to the wire. We are so close to the top four. I'm so excited. We are getting so close. But then I'm sad because I did love this season and I really don't want it to end. But all good things must come to an end. And that being said, we are almost at the end of the episode. Not yet, not yet. I don't want to do a full recap of this because I just don't feel like it. But I just need to say, if you are not watching Jersey Shore Family Vacation this season, do yourself a favor and watch this season. It is so good. To bring it up to speed, just for you guys quick, Sam is back, which if you don't know, Sam didn't film for them for years. Sam is back. Angelina is back on the show. Obviously, she has been. She brought Sam back, and now she's mad that Sam is back and getting all the attention. That aside, Ronnie is now coming back into the house. So it's going to be, for the first time ever in Jersey Shore history, every single cast member is going to be in the same house, which is crazy to think about. And the fact that they have Ron and Sam in the same house again is getting crazy. I'm so excited. Like I said, I watch Jersey Shore every single week. Jersey Day has never died in this house. It is just a really good season. If you're looking for like an easy reality show to watch, and especially if you watched it back in the day, like when it was the original series, just watch this season. You don't have to watch the ones before the Family Vacation. You can, they were great. this season is fantastic. And that wraps up our episode. But if you are not new here, you know that there's not any episode just yet. We still have my yes and my mess of the week. So if you are new here, A, thank you for tuning in. I'm so glad you found us. And B, we end each episode with a yes and a mess of the week. My yes being something I'm loving, my mess being something I'm not loving. So let's start with my yes. And this week, it is just so I mean, once a wildcat, always a wildcat. Vanessa Hudgens, we spoke about it a few weeks ago. She is pregnant. She is having a baby. And Ashley Tisdale just announced that she is pregnant with her second today. How exciting. I mean, they're not really friends, but in my mind, they're friends. But having these two High School Musical alums being pregnant at the same time, it's just like healing an inner child thing. You know what I mean? It's like the two of them in a perfect world. They're friends. Their kids are friends. Obviously in the movie, like Sharpay and Gabriella were like not great friends, and now there's like the whole Austin Butler of it all, where I don't think Ashley and Vanessa are friends. But in my delusional mind, the two of them are gonna be friends, and their kids are gonna grow up together, and they're pregnant together. And like I said, once a wildcat, always a wildcat. We talked about it a few weeks ago how I loved High School Musical so much growing up, and just I will always be rooting for the High School Musical cast. So just loving again. I really, I mean, the yes is the fact that the two of them are pregnant, so exciting. But also I'm just like low key really hoping that the two of them like rekindle something and like their kids are friends. I don't know. It would just be cute. I just love seeing the High School Musical cast winning. And switching gears to my mess for the week. Now, this is something that has been a lingering mess for a few weeks, and I keep finding something where I'm like, I don't want to give her the airtime. I don't want to do it. But I'm done. I can't anymore. Camila Cabello. Bitch. Before I go into it, I'm the first one to admit I loved her debut album. I think it was called Camila. But this new single, I Love It, that she is teasing, is quite literally a carbon copy of Unlock It by Charlie XCX and Kim Petras. If you like, it's literally like Camila went Control C, Control V, and put her vocals on it. It sounds the same. It is the same vibe. She's going into this hyper pop era, I guess, which I usually would be all over. I love a hyperpop track. Sophie, Kim, Charlie, give it to me. I'm into it. I love a hyperpop moment. Not from this bitch though. Like stay in your lane, do your thing, girl. She's also the title of the album is literally XOXOC or CXOXO. Charlie XCX. Like what? It like I, come, girl. Camilla, get it together. Like, what the fuck is going on? If you are expecting me to talk about this era or this album at all with the releases, I'm apologizing now. I'm not going to do it. The only way I'm going to talk about it is if it's like the most groundbreaking track I've ever heard in my life. And I just know it's not going to happen. So don't count on me covering Camila's releases. She is my mess this week. And that is the end of the episode. Thank you guys so much for listening to this week's episode of Too Pop to Handle. If you like what you heard, make sure you leave us a 5-star rating wherever you get your podcast. It really does help the show. I know everybody says it, but it is like just the way that Spotify, Apple Podcasts amplify their podcast. And if you're liking the podcast, why wouldn't you want us to be amplified? You know what I'm saying? If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button, give us a like, drop a comment, all of the YouTube things. And I say it all the time, but if you like this episode, send it to one friend. If everybody sends it to one person, I will double the listeners. It is simple math. Make sure you're following us on socials. We are at 2pop to Handle on all social platforms, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, you name it, I'm there. You can also follow me if you would like. I am at Andrew Nucatola across all platforms. And until then, I'll catch you guys next week. Bye.